this is as fun as it gets riding bikes. Cruising on the Megatower and the SB150. They're just so stable and like fast. Man, both bikes, they're so close. Yeah, man, if you're into just hauling the mail, top speed, either one of these bikes are just so capable and suited for that type of riding. There's a section where you get over 35 miles an hour. Woo! Oh yeah, like the level of confidence you have on these long travel bikes is incredible. What's up guys, we just got back from 2 days of riding the Yeti sb150 and the Santa Cruz Megatower back to back. Tyler was kind enough to come and hang out with me on this one, and man, what'd you think?
It was awesome. They're both big bikes.
Yep.
They're definitely a little bit different though.
Let's talk about the spec real quick, because they're different spec bikes. So Tyler's is kitted with like an XX1, nicer overall suspension and drivetrain and brakes. They both have code brakes on these models. We did look it up on the websites though, and the Yeti spec'd in a GX build comes with a DPX2 shock and 2-piston, or actually it was still guide brakes, right? It just wasn't the codes.
Yeah, it's the guide brakes, not the codes, which is a
big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, in the same price point on the Santa Cruz GX build, you're like $5,400. Came with Code R brakes, and you know, GX build, it's the type of, I'd probably buy the GX build personally if I was going to have a dedicated big bike.
Yeah.
Let's talk about high-speed Jacob's Ladder type trail. What were your thoughts switching between the two?
Yeah, so the difference between the two, the Yeti, it bounces you around, you feel the trail a little bit more, whereas the Megatower is just super planted. I mean, it doesn't move at all. It still feels great. It just plows through everything though. The Yeti, you'll kind of get like a little bit of side-to-side movement as well. The high tower or the Megatower, you don't feel that at all. It's just, it's stable. Especially
the rear end was most notable for me. It just felt so planted and deep. Like I was never going to get to the bottom.
No, yeah, you would never hit the bottom on this thing, it seems like. And normally I ride pretty heavy in the rear, so normally I'll sit there and hit the max on the bikes. This thing, I never came close to, at least close to feeling like I was hitting the bottom of it.
That said, for the trails you saw in the video today, both these bikes are more bike than you would want if these were the only trails you were riding.
Yeah.
The bigger, gnarlier trails are all covered in snow still right now, so we weren't able to properly test it on those. But it's still nice to test big bikes on regular trails, because that's where most people spend most of their time anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so we spent a lot of time up on Jacob's Ladder. Rode it a couple times. We ended up doing over 3,000 vertical feet again today with these two bikes, and now they both do really just so well on that high speed stuff, no doubt about it. The back end of that Megatower though feels bottomless, and on these slower speed trails, it's kind of fun to see how these big bikes do. I'll be interested to see what Tyler says. These big bikes just don't have that same really fast side-to-side feel that the shorter travel bikes have. Also, they're just kind of longer in the wheelbase too, which obviously makes it move through these trails a little different. Most of you who are looking at buying the 150 or the Megatower probably aren't riding these more flatter single track flow trails. Maybe you are, what do I know? What do you think?
It was good. I still like the SB150 is better on the flow trails, I feel like.
Yeah.
You can feel more on the SB150. The rear suspension isn't as soft as this one.
Yeah, the suspension on the Megatower is kind of vague on these lower trails. Even on Jacob's Ladder, it's kind of vague. It just feels bottomless.
It does, yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to have a burly trail to justify this bike, like no question about it. On this this lower stuff that we've done, it's just okay. I mean, it does the job, but that's not what you're getting the bike for. You're getting it for super rough terrain. I mean, for the SB150, it still handles the rough terrain not quite as well, but it's a little bit funner on the flow section. So getting bucked around a little bit with the SB150, you're just feeling more of the trail.
Yeah.
Which personally, I like.
Yeah.
For somebody that's just going on rough trails that are just smashing it, yeah I think the
Megatower. The rear end of the Megatower feels just deep.
It does.
It just ramps up. Yeah, ramps up.
So a lot of bikes, you feel like you sag down into it and just stay down there. This one feels like it stays high in the travel.
Yeah.
And it like just never goes through it, ever.
On this lower section of Rush, pay attention to the top stroke as it comes into the mid-stroke area. I felt like it was pretty soft there too. It felt really good. I don't know, let's finish out this lower stuff.
Yeah, it's just other soft bikes. Like a lot of times I'll bottom them out. This thing, not even close. Like
not even close.
Yeah, it feels like you're miles away from getting this thing to bottom out.
Totally.
I don't know where it's actually hitting on there, but
it's kind of hard to see. They got that little fender over there. Oh yeah, you're not bottomed out. Let's talk about down on like Ghost and Rush, the lower sections. I felt like the Yeti stood out a lot more. It had a lot more feel of the trail and the terrain. You could pump the bike way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like as you're pedaling, you actually can really feel the bike pushing forward. And it's the same like when you're taking off of a jump, you can actually push into things and you actually can have, get some momentum out of the rollers and the berms coming out of those.
Yeah.
Where you didn't with the Megatower. I was having a hard time keeping up with Jason on that flowy stuff. It was just, you pump, but the bike just sits there in the travel.
Yeah, the lower section I was riding the Yeti most of the time, and you can load it up coming into a turn and just explode and kind of spring out of a turn. And this one felt kind of vague.
It was.
Yeah. So just talking about like who this bike is for. If this is going to be your only bike, like a big long travel 29er, you really would have to have a lot of descending. Maybe you do a lot of shuttling or lift service. I mean, if you're out there riding your bike once, twice, 3 times a week and just pedaling it around, I think there's better options, but who buys this bike?
Yeah, it's going to be for somebody that's going to be doing shuttling or... Yeah, you don't want to pedal this thing on a daily basis. It's just way too much bike. It's not going to be fun. You're going to burn yourself out pretty quick. But if you're doing the shuttles, the lift service, the rocky, I mean, yeah, go up once or twice a week and hit some rocky terrain.
Totally.
It pedals fine. It actually pedals really well. It's just, it's heavy, and you don't want to be doing that on a daily basis.
Yeah, I would say so. And there's just so many good options out there for guys who own one bikes. The SB130 comes to mind. The Ibis Ritmo comes to mind. There's a couple good bikes out there that can still do the big heavy stuff almost as good as this. But then on days like today, they're just better.
Yeah, you're not burning all the matches.
Yeah. Normally I can never drop Tyler on those lower sections. So to hear that you were having a hard time keeping up with me on the Megatower was interesting.
Yeah, you felt like as you started to push into the berms and the rollers, I mean, it was just like, it just sat in there. Like you're not popping out of those at all. Yeah, you lose a lot of your speed in the suspension platform on that lower section. Interesting. But on the plus side, you're getting that all back on the rocky section. I mean, it's just it's just so planted. It's amazing. Yeah, and in terms of confidence, like I don't know, you can get more confidence. You can just like ride like a total crazy person, picking really stupid lines and do whatever on either one of these bikes and feel pretty safe, pretty good. Yeah, I was kind of surprised actually talking about that they didn't spec a 170 up front on this, because the rear end is it's incredible, and it feels like it needs a little bit more up front. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I think we touched all the stuff that I wanted to talk about. What do you think? Anything else? No, yeah, if you're looking for a bike that's a little more trail friendly, I'd go for the Yeti, something that's more of a shuttle ride, lift ride. I think the Santa Cruz. This still climbed. I was surprised at how much better this climbed than I thought it was going to. Yeah, it did. It climbed really well. It is, I think on their website, it's about 2 pounds heavier. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier than the Yeti, but just, I feel like it climbs better than the previous Hightower LT. It definitely climbs better than
the Nomad.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Nomads. I didn't love the way that the Nomad.
Yeah, this climbed better than the Nomad for sure. That'd be a fun ride to do this in the Nomad.
Yeah, that would be.
Anyway, yeah, this had better trail manners for sure in terms of pumping and getting into the rhythm of the trail and moving the bike around on the trail. It just moved around better. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, if you're still watching the video at this point, thank you. Subscribe, click the little bell and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more bike reviews and head-to-head videos like this. Man, it's nice jumping bigger bikes, that's for sure. They just jump so much easier than those short travel bikes. Well, not easier, but they're just, you feel safer. I feel safer. I feel safer on these big bikes
On the jumps?
than on the SB100 or the Ripley.